Okay, so for the audience that doesn't know, so this is Ryan Coogler. You guys grew up together when you were 8, you said?
Yeah, we met playing for the Berkeley Cougars. I was the quarterback. He was the running back.
Wow.
We were like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how our story started. And it was very like organic. It wasn't like, it was like, hey, you want to come over to my house? I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah. And then, one thing led to another, and we became lifelong friends.
Wow. And then, so you said he reached out to you while you were in prison?
Well, he reached out to somebody that knew me, and then one thing led to another, and we were like, Sadia, our play sister, she was like, Ryan's looking for you. And I was talking to her, I was talking to a few people, and I'm like, all right, cool. And we got in touch, and it was just, back like we never left. I was just in prison, but he was also becoming, this amazing film director and filmmaker.
This was before or after Fruitvale Station?
This was right during the time of Fruitvale.
Okay.
Because I remember sitting in the cell, and we had been talking, and I remember sitting in the cell, and I was looking on the news, and they were talking about how Fruitvale did over the weekend and how great it was and all that. So I wasn't like knowledgeable of what he was doing. I knew what he was doing, but I didn't know the magnitude of whatever he was putting together. Because when I moved to LA, he also was going to film school out here at USC, and I would go to his screenings. I was just going to support him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was out in the streets. I show up drunk, all type of shit. It was wild. He'd be like, "Hey, shout out my boy D-Lo came to support me and all that." And it'd be like 10 people there. You know what I'm saying? But I was my partner. This is what he was doing. I was coming to support. That was it. But then, like, fast forward, like as his career grew, he would what kind of started it. He used to send me like 10 books at a time, like a box of books. He'd be like, "Hey, bro, I ain't really got time to really read these. Can you read them and kind of like give me a summary?" Because at the time, like when I was doing my thing, I'd read a book in like 3 days. Okay. Like just slam through it. And it was like, I guess it was an exercise for me. I wasn't sure how I would use it, but it was just me, passing time. And what I would do was write a summary, write what the book is about, write a summary, write what I thought, and then send it all back, not knowing I was doing coverage.
Yeah, so he's like pretty much getting free labor.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't nothing to me. I wasn't really tripping. But one thing led to another, and he started asking me what I wanted to do when I come home. And at the time, I didn't know. Like when you're in prison, you kind of collect all this information and gather it. Like, okay, I read every book I could on real estate. I read every book I could on franchising. Every book I could. I was taking classes like just learning everything about the stock market. So you gather all this information, but you're not sure how you're going to use it. You have plans, but when life hits you in the face, it's like, nah, you can't do that. Like, because when I first came home, like, I'm not about to, go to Wall Street and become a stockbroker, or I'm not saying it's impossible, but just the reality of the situation. That's not what was going on. So when like as time goes on and it comes closer and closer to me get home, he was like, "Bro, you need to start thinking about what you want to do." And his younger brother, Keenan Coogler, was his assistant at the time. Mm-hmm. And he started writing. So he was transitioning off his desk, and he needed an assistant. I don't know what conversations he had with him or whatever, but he was like, his younger brother was like, he used to talk me off the ledge a lot because I was stressing over the fact I was coming home at 33. I was thinking my life was over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to just go back to doing what I was doing. And he was like, "Man, don't trip. People's careers start at 33. You know what I'm saying? You can come out and do your thing." I think they already kind of had a plan, but he was like, "You'll be all right." But when I finally came home, he was there when I came home. He surprised me, as a matter of fact. Him and his wife, Zins, they showed up at the halfway house. Wow. Yeah, it was dope. But the first thing I did was I started doing DoorDash and Postmates. And I did that shit for like 5 months, maybe.
Was this in LA or was this
in
back
LA?
up in
So I didn't go back home. I said,
Gotcha.
I'm going to just parole to LA. I'm going to stay out here. Best decision I probably could have made. You know what I'm saying? So when I paroled, I did DoorDash and Postmates for like 5-6 months. And this was like August. I got out August 2018. And then come January, Ryan was like, "Hey, bro, you ready?" I'm like, "Sure." You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, saying yes to. Yeah. But what was cool about it was, first thing, he was like, "Hey, you need to go get a laptop." I'm like, "All right, for sure. Go get a laptop." I'm like, I don't even know how to type really. So man, I don't know anything about a Google Drive. I don't know I got an idea how to send an email. I went to school before, but it was like, I haven't used it in so long. You know what I'm saying?
Since before prison or?
Yeah, before prison.
That's crazy.
Like I was typing in prison because I used to take college courses. So but I wasn't able to correspond with anybody in the free world. So, everything was still so new because it was so many things that were new, and like I was gone almost a decade.
Yeah.
Uber wasn't around.
Yeah. Technology is like
Technology completely
different.
changed. I didn't have an Instagram or anything like that.
Was it kind of a shock, like, you know, just like that? Because I feel like you probably had like an idea of what the world was like, but then actually like getting out, you know, like how you're saying you had ideas of like, you know, you said Wall Street, you know, real estate and things like that, but then actually coming into the world, like, was it a big shock and a big change?
So we have phones in there illegally.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
if
we
it
have
was
phones.
stolen,
So I'm aware of the real world, but it's nothing like being in it. You know what I'm saying? Still, like, it's still jumping. Like, I noticed buildings. This is a big building, but when I came home, houses are small because I was so used to living in big buildings. Like, I go home to houses like my cousin's house. I'm like, damn, I remember this house used to be way bigger for some reason. But living in these big dorms and big cell blocks, it's like everything's kind of like small. So it was things like that. Comparing obviously technology, transportation, vehicles, cars. 10 years. It's a bunch happening that you missed.
You got birds everywhere, scooters.
It's all type of crap going on, and people don't realize that. Like a lot of people remember when so for instance, Future, he was the #1 rapper when I was in prison. I was like, who? Like, you know what I'm saying? I knew of him, but I was like, people career took off while I was gone, and I didn't get to feel. I tell the people like this: I didn't live with that music. Meaning, like, you got dressed, you got drunk, you went to the club, you partied with a girl to Future or something like that. Yeah. I don't got that relationship with his music.
Yeah.
So it was me catching up on a lot of stuff, trying to get reacclimated. But it's one thing because you feel like you miss so much and you're trying to catch up, but you also got to remind yourself, hey, you're free. Take it one day at a time. You don't got to make up for all that lost time in a week. So you got to chill. But I think doing DoorDash and Postmates helped me a lot because just that interaction with people, even though they're assholes, but they treat delivery drivers like shit.
Yeah,
so,
no, for sure.
But it was some people that were cool. Like, but it helped me because I remember I got out and I moved to downtown LA on like 6th and Spring, and mind you, it's like it's 2 bars, a club, a 24-hour diner. And just it's always cracking. I remember like one of the first nights I was home, I walked down to the street, and the club line was right in front of the building, and it was so like my anxiety was kicking my ass. It was like I was just so paranoid. I was like, I went in, I looked around, people was looking at. I thought everybody was looking at me, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna just go back in the house. But what I started to do is just start taking walks up the block, just trying to get used to it. So it was things like that. But I think I turned out okay. I still have a little anxiety, but I work on it. I'm very, very self-aware, so I kind of like talk myself down.
Yeah.
But
so you were talking about they first had you get a laptop, and then so you were just like you kind of just dove head first into that. Yeah, what was the job? So obviously I know I'm gonna be his assistant, right? The first thing was go get a laptop, and then we were working up. He had formed Proximity Media with his wife Zinzi Coogler and Sev Ohanian, who's the other founder. And we were producing. Proximity was producing Space Jam: A New Legacy. So he was like, "Hey, I need you to get a laptop and then go meet Sev and Desi, who was his assistant at the time, at Desi exactly."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was like, "You need to go meet him at the Warner Brothers lot." And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm not thinking another, like, I'll just walk on the Warner Bros. Lot. I've never been on a studio lot in my life. So as I'm turning the corner, I remember it was somewhere on Olive or whatever. I see the water tower back there. I'm like, okay. Then I pull in, and like when I parked and walked across the street and I got in the gate, it's like a main street. I don't know what it's called anymore, but it just looked like a movie in itself. People moving everywhere, trucks going everywhere, people walking, people carrying props, all type of stuff. And I was just like, oh shit. Like, okay, I don't know what I got myself into, so let me just breathe. But met Desi. Desi kind of walked me through the ropes, helped me out a bunch over the years. And I met Sev, and I remember going into his office, and he set me down, and he kind of asked me, he just started grilling me, like, what you want to do? What you trying to do? What's going on? What are you doing with your life? I'm like, God damn, I thought I had the job already. but in the co-part, Ryan's not there. Yeah. Like, he's in the Bay. I think he was writing at the time or something like that. But I remember they showed me where my desk was at, and the first thing Sev did was like, I heard you've been doing coverage. Here's the Space Jam script. We need notes on that. And I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to have this because I ain't signed shit, like an NDA or anything. But it was just, ever since then, it's been like a crash course. You know what I'm saying? So that production is significant to me because it's where I kind of just learned everything fast as I possibly could. Like when I was there for prep, principal, and post, but the thing about it, Ryan was in and out. And so it was me, Desi, and Sev most of the time. But Sev made it a point. He was like, look, at the end of the day, I need you to have 3 questions about the movie industry every day. Like, I don't care how big, how small, how simple, how complex, whatever. I just need you to ask 3 questions so you can be actively learning what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn. So this is what people go to school for all the time. So I got to learn it this way. All right, cool. So during the development process, it was like I seen a script go through 100 drafts and go from this comes out, this goes back in, this can't work, this just the
So at this point, the script's not done yet. You guys are actively working on the Space Jam script.
We're actively working on it.
Okay,
but we're also actively working on Judas and the Messiah script too.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. So it was a lot of overlap.
And then so when you were saying you were doing coverage in prison, like with the books and stuff, was Coogler also sending you scripts for notes?
No, not even.
So this is the first time you actually get handed
a script.
Have you read a script before this point?
Hell no.
So this is the first time seeing a script, and then they want you to write notes and give your feedback on it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's I think it was one part preparation exercise for me, but another part was like, okay, maybe he has a different perspective on something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and that's kind of like what Proc's like motto is. They value everybody's opinion. Yeah. So even me coming straight from prison, they're like, hey.
I mean, you probably got the most different perspective out of everybody.
I'm like, that won't work.
But also, so I'm curious, like so at that point, like I guess they're sending you these scripts, and then you're reading. I mean, what's your first thought when you kind of like go over it, and also like how many of your notes were actually implemented into like the final thing?
Man,
would you say?
I was paranoid, bro. I wasn't giving like
much.
No, yeah, I didn't give much back. It was it was. I was just excited to read. I was like, juiced it, but I didn't really have too many notes about it. What started to happen was everything started to go faster during principal photography. Like development, I'm in there in the meetings, all the meetings, taking notes, watching, Ryan produce, obviously this film get made. When we got on set was when the learning really start happening. That's when I start soaking up a lot of game, because Ryan was like, I need you to get in there. And I wasn't aware, like, what do you mean get in? He was like, I need you to get in there and learn as much as you can. So I just took it upon myself. I just started asking hella questions. Yeah. Like director's village, producer's village. Hey, what's that? What is that? Hey, what is that? What's our job? What's that? Why are you doing that? I know I got on everybody's nerve. Yeah. Well, I think I did, but what showed me that what it was working was because like later on down the line, like 30 days in the shooting, they would be like, "Hey, D-Lo, come here, check it out. Remember when I was telling you about this? Like I'm talking about every department,
actually helping, teaching you. Or
It's just like when they see you trying to do something and you're genuine about it. I think people like really lean into kind of like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. So yeah, and then the thing is, it's like on the outside looking in of a production, you think normal people are like, oh, it's a director and it's somebody shooting it. That's it. Mm. So when you get it behind the scenes, it's like
you see all these different departments.
What? So many.
The smallest things.
I'm like, so there's a person that handles, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's crazy. So as I'm learning that, and obviously I'm with LeBron James every day, who's my favorite basketball player.
That's crazy.
Like I had to.
That's your first like on-set experience, and you're kicking it with LeBron.
Yeah. And the thing about it, they knew who I was. His team.
Oh, really?
Knew who. Shout out Randy, Mav, Rich, and Brian. They knew who I was beforehand because Ryan kind of like talked to him about me. And they used to. The joke was, he was like, when I first met him, he was like, he was the one that was in the Army, huh? I'm like, in the Army? What the fuck you talking about? He's like, the Army. I was like, because there was a bunch of people around us, and he didn't want to put me on blast about being in the pen. So he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, I got it. And they started laughing. So that was like the running joke. But like that, it was, bro. There's some regular cats, just with a lot of stuff. So it was one of those things where he actually, their team seen what I was trying to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out what is my lane in this.
But at this point, were you just trying to soak up all this information because you want to do your job well, or at this point where you're like fully like, oh, I'm gonna get into this as a career?
Oh no! I wasn't sure because I was an assistant at 33 years old. Yeah. I was actually just working on swallowing my pride every day. Oh, you know, okay, be cool, because it would be days I go home and feel like I fucked up, or I dropped the ball somewhere, or I'm not learning enough. It was a lot of imposter syndrome. I say that.
But at the same time, I feel like just like there's so many people out there that would probably kill to be in that position where you can, But first set you're on Space Jam.
I had to realize that, like it didn't click just yet. Where it really clicked, I'm gonna be honest, was the next project.